Humphreys of the Hoop Path, and I'm making this tutorial with Jaguar Mary, who puts together the Sacred Circularities Hoop Retreat each year in Bali. And I'll be teaching at the 2012 Sacred Circularities Retreat along with Rainbow Michael, Bunny Hoopstar, and Anna Hoopalicious. Today I'll be talking about an inner space technique that is a kind of a companion piece to an earlier tutorial that I did with Jaguar Mary about outer space. Outer space is what I call the space outside the hoop as it's spinning around your core. So outer space is out here, inner space is in here. I call this technique core wrapping, and it is distinguished from wrap breaks, which are breaks in which the arm wraps fully around the hoop. Those will be covered in some later material somewhere on the internet. But a core wrap, in a core wrap, the arm wraps around the core, the body, instead of around the hoop. It's an inner space technique where we're working with just the space within the circle of the hoop. It's a drill that you can practice and really broaden the range of space available to you within the hoop. That's the purpose of the exercise as I see it. And you can of course also integrate some of these core wraps into your dance for texture and expressiveness. So this technique we practice at the shoulders, and because of that it's going to be speaking mostly to hoopers who have at least 50 hours of flight time. So that's 50 actual hours spent interacting with your hoop. So this is intended for shoulder hooping only. And the way that we begin this is, of course, we begin with hooping on the shoulders. Turning is always best because it gives you more time and space. Turning with the hoop. And the first thing that we're going to attempt is, while we're hooping on the shoulders, we're going to try to reach across the front of the body with one arm, it doesn't matter which arm, and touch the front of the elbow of the opposite arm, like so. Touching just the front of the elbow of the opposite arm, and then you can try the other arm. Just reaching across, touching the front of the opposite elbow. Step 2 is going to be reaching behind you and touching the back of the elbow of your opposite arm. Either one. Like so. And then, of course, try the other. It takes some speed and some concentration, and that's what we're working on. Next step is going to be changing currents, going into the opposite current, and trying all those variations in the opposite current. Touching the front of one elbow, the back of that elbow, front of the other elbow, and back of the other elbow. Repeating all those steps, then you can go back into your first current. And this next step is going to involve touching the front and the back of each elbow sequentially and during each revolution, continuously. Front, back, front, back, front, back, front, back. Trying to move the opposite arm as little as possible. Then, of course, we're going to switch arms. Front, back, front, back, front, back, front, back. And we're going to switch currents and try each variation on the opposite side. Front, back, front, back, front, back, front, back. And then opposite arm, front, back, front, back, front, back, front, back. This is a great opportunity to work on your stalling or turning technique. Stalling and turning are synonyms in the hoop world, in the greater hoop world. And then we go back to our first current. And now, the next step is to try to touch the front and the back of each elbow of each arm at the same time, like so. Trying for contact whenever possible, but because both of the arms are moving, you may or may not be able to make contact every time. And then back into our second current. And back to first current. Come see me and hoop with me. I look forward to it.